Hey guys, this week we are talking about if theming can work in luxury properties, Vegas trips for non-gamblers, and the CV Big Wheel returns, so stick around. This episode is sponsored by Cove Security. Get started today at crapvegas.com/Cove.
Welcome to the Crap Vegas Podcast.
Vegas, here we come.
Vegas!
Here are your hosts, Chris and Josh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 57 of the Crap Vegas Podcast. I am Chris. He's Josh. Josh, what's going on?
Well, we are finally wrapped up with school here and gearing all the way up towards summer. Everybody's sad that there's no more school. What else? That's the big thing around our house is we're finally making our summer plans together. Our daughter goes off for overnight camp, I think next week or week after that or something like that. So we'll have the house to ourselves a little bit. How about you?
Nothing crazy here, just a lot of busy time with camps and practices and all that stupid stuff. But Josh, the summer is officially here now. This week, it has been an average of around 95, it feels like. And it's supposed to be even worse this weekend. And it's like a feels like temperature in the low to mid hundreds. It is absolutely miserable out.
Let's see. We are almost the same. We're 61.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
with a chance of rain here. We do hit, let's see, a week from on Friday, we're going to hit 82. So we're going to be almost your weather.
Oh, yeah, you're only 20 degrees off, not a big deal. I mean, with your rounding system that you use for our episode numbers, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same thing.
Oh, speaking of that, Chris, I was looking to see if there was any significance. You got me on this, episode number kick with your angel number a couple episodes ago. So I looked at episode 57 to see if there was any significance in 57. It said 57 was an angel number.
Maybe everything in the 50s
every
is an
number
angel number.
number?
You act like I spent the time to actually go look into this and see what the reasoning and fact behind it was.
I feel cheated.
I told you, somebody sent it to me. I said it. It could have been a complete lie, but clearly it wasn't.
Well, I think 57 is also an angel number. I didn't go much further into the numerology of it, but it's an angel number.
Next week, Josh will let us all know if 58 is an angel number too.
That's right.
It turns out everything less than 300 is an angel number.
I'm guessing it's just everything's an angel number.
Probably that's the case.
And I don't know if Taurus is in retrograde or not.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Does Taurus go into retrograde? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm a Virgo, so I don't worry about those Taurus people.
I'm a Gemini.
Oh, good for you. You guys are crazy.
Yes, we are.
Josh, I will say one thing that I did do this week. I took golf back up. Haven't played in forever. I just never have time to play golf anymore. I was a big golfer as a kid. Both my parents were big golfers. My mom still is a big golfer. Part of country clubs growing up, like the neighborhood country club sort of thing.
Right.
Played a lot and then just gave it up because I just didn't have time. Well, I don't know. You know what it was? It was actually listener Eric.
Right.
What actually motivates. So Eric, this is all you. We were sitting there talking about something, ideas, other things to do in Vegas. And somehow the idea of playing at the Wynn golf course came up because we get two free rounds.
We get rounds.
If you're a black card holder. And as most people know, the Wynn golf course is extremely expensive. What is it, Josh? $700-800?
Oh, something like that. And for the record, we've never used our rounds of golf that we've gotten for being black. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought, you know what? He said that. I was like, we really should take advantage of stupid stuff like that. And I jokingly said to Eric, hey, if Josh and I ever play, we'll invite you. You can be in our group and because it would be free. Why not? And you know what? I started thinking about it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take golf back up. So I pulled my clubs out of the closet, Josh. They were approximately 30 years old. It turns out technology has come a long way since then. So ended up buying a new cheap set of clubs that I can really start to give it a try out with again. Got it all put together. And on Saturday, I even went to the driving range and hit a bucket of balls. Went remarkably well. I was actually pretty excited about that.
There you go.
Unfortunately, though, I learned the next day that if you haven't hit a golf ball in a very long time and you hit 150 golf balls in the span of 30 minutes,
your body hurts.
Not my body.
Oh,
the joints in my hand. I don't know if I'm arthritic, if I'm like you, I'm just an old
that
man
age,
and
right.
I'm getting to that point. I'm sure it has something to do with playing guitar and stuff my whole life. So, my hands are kind of, But at the same time, I was in extreme pain the next day. And it's not that much better today where my knuckles and my hand are just so sore I can barely bend them. So I'm going to keep going with this. I'm going to become a professional golfer soon enough. But one thing that will be exciting, and we'll give out more details later, I think for my birthday trip in September, which is actually probably going to be in August, when we go out there, we're going to stay at Wynn a couple nights, and we're going to try to get a foursome together, and we're going to have an open spot. So I will figure out a way for us to have a contest to win that 4 spot, a free round of golf at Wynn. I can't think of anything cooler.
It'll be a lot of fun. We're really excited about that. So Chris is telling me about his latest golf adventure, and I sent him a screenshot of my golf achievements. I was like 18 under par on EA Golf on the Xbox.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, Josh. So I wanted to download the new PGA game. I think it's like Road to the Masters.
That's the one I'm playing, right? Yep.
Okay, well, I couldn't get that downloaded, and I didn't have the desire to go to the store and actually purchase it.
Right.
So I downloaded what was available on the PS5, which was...
Oh, is it the one with Tiger Woods?
Yes, it's 2K
yeah.
PGA.
I didn't like that version.
Well, I downloaded it. It's not that great of a game, but I will say that I'm currently averaging about 20 under per round.
There you go.
If I can translate my EA golf skills, or not even EA,
whatever that other company,
23 golf skills into real world golf, I am set.
I'll tell you, the Road to the Masters game is pretty fun. I love the idea. Your Valhalla, right? Is that the one by you?
Yeah, that's the one.
It was great to be able to play that course and, see all the, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's not on 2K23.
No.
I feel like I play Torrey Pines every game.
Which isn't bad.
No, I mean, it's fun, but
Pebble Beach is on it. The Wynn golf course is not. That would be really cool. So we could actually get a feel for the holes. And
maybe in 2025, they'll do that. And the sphere will be in the background overlooking everything.
That would be awesome.
That would be super cool. But I am excited about it, Josh. We said it's another thing we could do in Vegas more often. And thankfully, with our status, we usually get free rounds of golf most places.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to take advantage of it, I mean, that's another $2,000 or so and stuff that we'd get out of Wynn.
And you guys know I play golf a little more than Chris. That does not mean whoever it is that gets to play with us doesn't mean I'm going to be any good at all.
No, I actually warned Eric if he did come with us. I said, you better be used to like 40 or 50 over being okay.
Right.
And he started going on about all the things that Wynn offers if you play golf there, Josh. Like you get a 4 caddy.
You get it. Yep. I know that. Yep.
I didn't know what a 4 caddy was. I knew what a caddy was, but I had no idea what a 4 caddy was. Looked it up, found out more about that. And I saw their primary role is not only to give you like tips and tricks and like club suggestions here and there, but their real main focus is to be watching your ball off the tee so that you know where it lands.
Super handy in my case.
And considering I could easily lose like 3 dozen balls in a round, that could save me a ton of money.
I'm actually, when I'm playing regularly, I don't lose many balls. I have a tendency to go really straight. I just don't hit it that far.
Okay. Well, when I was at the driving range, Josh, I found that my average drive was in the 225 to 240 range.
That's impressive. If you can do that and be straight, you're golden.
And I did find that roughly 60% of my tee shots were straight as an arrow.
There you go.
The other 40% had a very bad fade. It's a fade if it goes to the right? If it starts straight and it goes to the right.
If it goes to the right. I
think it's a hook if it goes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a hook if it goes left.
You would say slice,
fade, right?
You would say slice and hook. Slice and hooks are the negative.
Oh, fade
and draw are the intentional, right?
That's exactly what I was doing. Yeah, 40% of my shots were intentional fades to the right, is what they were. I aimed like 30 yards to the left and ended up dead center. The only problem is when I found out when I aim to the left like that, sometimes it does go straight.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Just going straight off the fairway. So
I aim. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I aim left, and it's so much so that people that are playing with me, if they're strangers, will say, "Do you know he's lined up like 20 degrees to the left?" And the ball will go straight though.
So fair enough. I'm looking forward to it, Josh. We need to get that trip set up. I think we're planning it for mid-August, and we'll talk about that later. We'll have to get a hold of them, though, and get a tee time and then find our lucky fourth to join us.
And we're going to have to start at like 4 a.m. because mid-August in Vegas.
It's going to be a little warm.
A little toasty.
Yeah, but you know what, Josh? I'm sure they fill the cart with drinks, right?
Yes, I'm sure they fill the cart with drinks, and they probably have some attractive golf cart people running around.
Girl?
Well, I wasn't going to say girl necessarily, but...
and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a girl, Josh.
Well, I mean, I hope that's true, but I don't want to judge.
Okay, well, this has been Golf Talk for this week.
And Weather Talk.
And Weather Talk. If there's anything else you have a suggestion for us to talk about, let us know. But,
thanks for listening to episode 57.
Yep, it's been great, guys. We'll talk to you later. No, just kidding. Let's tell people how to get a hold of us, though, Josh. You can send us an email. That is podcast@crapvegas.com. You can go to our Facebook page at crapvegas.com/Facebook. You can leave us a voicemail at crapvegas.com/voicemail. Or the easiest way is always going to be on X.
Twitter.
Something feels off there. Just slightly askew from normal, doesn't it?
I made Chris do it.
Yeah. He's at Vegas Duffy. I'm at Spallwhale13, or the show page is at Crap Vegas.
And Chris, did you check the voicemails this week?
No, absolutely not.
So listeners, if you send us a voicemail, I apologize on behalf of the entire Crap Vegas team, and we will hopefully get to those soon.
I feel like this is just going to be a running joke for the next 300 episodes that we all...
No, on episode 100, we're going to check and see if we have any voicemails.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Every 50 episodes, we'll catch up on one voicemail.
That's right.
If you get selected, you're very lucky.
That's who gets the round of golf.
Yeah, that's what it should be. Previous episode feedback, Josh. We got an email from Sean. Sean said, loved your last episode, guys. I think you were right that MGM really does have 3 flagship properties, all catered towards different people. I don't see it as a problem, but I understand it could make marketing a little harder. I too agree that Bellagio has fallen off a lot recently, but I have hope they will do the right thing and put some love back into it soon. Keep up the great work, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Is this Sean that's the new moderator of our Facebook group, or is this a different Sean? This is a different Sean.
It's
we
a
have
pretty
quite
common
a few
name.
Seans, yeah. So thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. That's the moderator of our Facebook group as well.
If your name is Sean, thank you in general.
Thank you, all Seans, right? Wallace Sean could be.
Yeah, he's a big one. Any other Sean? Sean Kemp, the basketball player.
Yeah, he got busted recently, relatively recently. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a Seattle person, right?
Yes, he is. He owns a fair number of pot shops.
The only reason, I mean, I liked Wallace Shawn because, as everybody knows, I was a huge Vegas Vacation guy. So, I mean, he's one of my favorite guy in it. But I'm also now, because of my kids, I'm addicted to Young Sheldon, and he plays a pretty pivotal role in Young Sheldon.
And, of course, he's big in Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
That is not the reason that I like him.
And he was on The Princess Bride, which we talked about a few episodes back for some reason. I can't remember.
Is this like 5 degrees of Crap Vegas?
That's right.
It all comes back.
I used to be really good at 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, by the way.
Well, we don't need 6. We only got 5. But I feel like everything comes back to Star Trek at some point or the other when it comes
absolutely,
to you.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Josh, we got a message on the CV Facebook group regarding the Four Queens mini craps tub that they put in.
Oh, yeah.
It was from John. John said, figured I'd stop by Four Queens this morning and check out the new tub. Nice little table for sure. Looks comfy with the stools. Ironically, the table was closed, even though it was added so they could keep a craps table running during off-peak hours. We'll try back again sometime.
Well, that's kind of a bummer. I mean, Chris and I want to go try it out when we're down there. Pop by Four Queens and see it. So I'm hoping we see it and it's actually running. But thanks for letting us know it's not always running, John.
What are your thoughts, Josh, about chairs and stools at craps tables?
Well, ever since we had Garrett on for the Crap Vegas Property Bracket Challenge.
Still going strong.
And Garrett told us about the chairs at, what was it, South Point? Was it?
It might have been
South Point that he was talking about.
He was talking. No. He was talking about the Boyd properties. All Boyd properties seem to have chairs at them.
Right. Oh, it was Gold Coast, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I've never sat at a chair at a craps table. Well, other than the little tub at Casino Royale. I think I might like it, particularly, as I'm getting older.
I mean, where I play locally, Josh, my Boyd property always has big stools at the table. I love it. I don't sit down as much as you would think because they're there.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just really nice when you're not shooting in between rolls, or if things are going on, or there's a fill coming, just be able to have a seat, relax for a little bit. And if you want to, you can sit there and reach over and grab your chips and stuff as you're going. But it's nice to have the option if you want it. But even more so, I feel like it delineates space a little bit more.
Right.
Because they put 4 chairs on one side.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, there's going to be 4 people.
Right.
6 people don't try to squeeze in here. It almost makes it more spacious and luxurious.
I'm really curious to see what it'll be like if we can get there and it's working. It's running.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We got a question/comment from Conflict Otter, one of our favorite named patrons, Josh. It says, apologies for the very tardy reply, but thank you so much for featuring my question and my talking point on the show. I also have to give you props for recommending Matt King, which is somebody that I mention every chance that I can. He said, I never would have sought out that show on my own, but his sleight of hand was amazing. And even if you're paying for tickets, they are dirt cheap. Before we go with the rest of his, Josh, Matt King, I can't say it enough. He doesn't sponsor the show or anything like that.
We're not getting anything for it.
We get nothing off you going, but I will say I love the Matt King show. I'm still trying to convince Josh maybe we could squeeze it in during the day.
Yeah, we're thinking about this trip coming up.
It's a daytime show, which is really nice because there aren't a ton of daytime shows and you can break up your day with that. It's not expensive. Josh, he's got enough like kind of veiled raunchiness into it with some double entendres and stuff he puts in the show that adults will get a good laugh out of it.
Sure.
But at the heart of it, he's just a really, really good magician.
Right.
So it's an awesome show. The only thing I don't like though is his new theater it's at Excalibur. It's got it's not like an actual theater with like seats in the round or anything like that or tiered seating. They use like super long tables that are like 20-person tables. So if you and I went, we would actually sit across the table from one another. Huh. I guess it's the same theater that they do Thunder from Down Under in. So there's like a,
Gotcha.
One of those male reviews. So there's like a circular
so people
stage
could dance
in the
on
middle.
the table. Maybe is that the idea?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe they're getting ready for it. But anyways, I don't particularly love that. But Matt King is absolutely worth the $40 or whatever it is for a ticket.
Well, and I know, Chris, you've raved about Matt King, and I know Penn of Penn and Teller likes him an awful lot too. I think they're buddies or something like that. And so if the two things are kind of enough to want me to go.
Well, let's see if we can squeeze that in somehow when we go on our next trip. Let's finish the question though from Conflict Otter. Question for Josh. As a fellow MGM credit card holder, do you find the card design to be very cheap looking? On my card, the number is just printed on the front of the card, not embossed anywhere. I kind of wish it looked a little nicer. Also, not that it makes any difference practically, but I am a woman. Keep up the great content.
So, Conflict Otter, I apologize, and I'm sure Chris does too, for thinking, you
all otters are males in my eyes, I guess.
Sorry
Never thought about it until now, but I guess so.
So, yeah, I feel the same way as you do, Conflict Otter. The card does feel cheap to me. Although, so for people that don't know, this is the MGM credit card that you can get, as Conflict Otter said, but it's aligned vertically. So it's kind of cool in that it's aligned vertically, whereas most credit cards are horizontal, and it's black. So those two things kind of make it cool. But I agree, it does feel cheap with it's not embossed, it's just printed on. And I could easily see that wearing off.
I hate when companies do that. It's so damn cheap. They use the flimsiest plastic they can get. I used to bank at PNC, and I know they're not a nationwide bank, but they're pretty large regionally. And PNC, they print all your debit cards in the local branch.
Right.
And they do the same thing. They don't emboss the numbers. They just kind of type them on there sort of thing. It wipes off after like 2 minutes, and then you don't even know what your numbers are. So if the chip stops working, you're screwed. It's just, it's a whole mess. I wish companies would stop being so damn cheap.
Me too. I want to get one of those American Express cards where they're actually titanium or whatever it is that Chris has apparently got one.
Even better than that, Josh. Not only do I have one, I have the official Boeing one.
Oh, it's a real airplane part, right? Yeah. I got an ad for that. Like it's made out of a plane, right?
Yeah, this one was made out of a Boeing 747-451. The plane flew 66 million miles from 1989 to 2017.
See, I was thinking of getting one of those just for that. I think that would be super cool.
I got the Delta Reserve card a long time ago because you get the club access by default, so I don't have to use a choice benefit on it. And honestly, with the other things that they give you benefit-wise, it was worth it way better than the annual fee that I was paying to do it. So it netted out perfully fine for me. Definitely not for everybody, though. I think the annual fee now is up to $600 or $700. So
I think it is too.
It's pretty pricey.
I will say that this isn't about the aesthetic of the MGM credit card. I'm not all that. I mean, I think the MGM credit card has value for some people, and you'd want to turn over to Michael Traeger and the team at Travels Work Travel to give you all the credit card advice if that's your thing on what gambling cards are best and all that. That's not really our thing. But I will say, I don't think I get all that much value personally from it, and I should probably switch over to like a Starbucks card or a Delta card or something, because the MGM dollars, I mean, yeah, I get MGM tier credits and dollars, but I'm not using them.
Yeah, you're going to hit platinum every year. It's not going to make a difference towards Noir. I think it's more valuable somebody, Josh, that's probably a lower level gambler that goes to Vegas once a year and they can get Pearl status.
I think
it's
Pearl,
what it gives you by default.
Mm-hmm.
So you can save on parking and maybe some fees here or there or something. I think maybe there's some value there, but overall it's not a great card to have. Josh, we got a message from Raymond on the CV Facebook group about ratings. Raymond said, friendly reminder to not be afraid to ask the pit what you were rated when you're done with the session. The last 2 times I did 160 across, and they had him rated at $40 and $60.
Ooh.
Whoops. I don't get it. So they just not see all those bets? Did they see you not playing the pass line on the come out roll and penalize you for that? Luckily, they fixed it for me both times, and I've got my hard-earned valuable player points. So yeah, we talk about that all the time. It's always a good idea to ask when you're done what they have you rated at. Don't be afraid, because sometimes they just randomly guess, it feels like.
Yeah, Raymond, thanks for the post on the Facebook group. I think you're right. And I always worry, Chris, I don't know if you do too, but I worry if I don't play the pass line at a craps table and I just make place and buy bets, that I'm sometimes going to get overlooked that way, that they're just going to say he's not playing or he's not playing all the time. Or
I agree.
I feel kind of pressured into having a pass line bet for that reason.
Well, I mean, it is a great bet to make.
Yeah, I'm not saying that
if you're going to get
right.
pressured into something, it's not the worst thing in the world to be pressured into.
Right.
But I do think you're right, Josh. I think sometimes the people, not all people, but a lot of people that don't play the pass line are the people that typically make a random field bet, and maybe they place the 6 or 8 occasionally, not every time, and they just aren't going to take those gamblers as seriously when it comes to what they rate them at.
So it's a good, as Chris said when we started, it's good to always check if you can. I know it's awkward sometimes, but you don't want to get in a situation like this.
No, absolutely not. Last thing this week, Josh, we got previous episode feedback from Ned's, one of our patrons. Ned said, I was just spending some time in Excalibur over the weekend and was worried about what's to come. With the proximity to T-Mobile, Allegiant, and the upcoming A Stadium, coupled with MGM's desire to move more upmarket, I'm concerned Excalibur will be torn down for something soulless like Aria. Wow, that's a hit at Josh's favorite place there.
That's right.
That was mean.
It is kind of soulless, but
it is. Given the 3-year window for A's relocation, it would be the perfect time to start from scratch. Would it be possible to keep the medieval theming in a luxury property? Keep the theme resorts alive. What do you think, Josh? Can you keep medieval theming and be a luxurious resort?
I don't think so. I think in this day and age, I think Excalibur has a purpose. I think it has, I mean, I love it. As Chris said, we feel the same way. We love the theming. I don't want Excalibur to go anywhere. I don't think, based on what I've heard on like MGM earnings calls and things like that, I don't see any way that Excalibur is going to go away anytime soon. I think they value it as a lower tier property. And I think MGM understands the various market segments that it has and doesn't want to lose that. And I don't know that they have the appetite for a new capital project like that.
Yeah, I don't see anything happen to Excalibur at all.
I think you're safe.
I don't think they're going to upgrade it in any way, shape, or form. I think when they start doing a lot of these remodels, like always, like when Bellagio gets remodeled rooms, their furniture will downcycle into Excalibur. You know, maybe they aren't even good enough to get Bellagio's used stuff. Maybe they'll get it from New York when they remodel in 5 years. Something like that will happen. But yeah, I don't think Excalibur or Luxor are going to go anywhere.
I don't either. So one thing before we move on from listener feedback, Chris, we got a lot of comments, particularly from our patrons, on the question of which MGM property would we demolish and start over. And I had suggested maybe New York or Park, and you said MGM Grand. And I think the vast majority of our patrons that commented said they agreed with you, the MGM Grand. And the more I think about it, I didn't even think about it, which probably think about MGM Grand in answering that question, which probably tells me you're right, that it's kind of a forgotten MGM property. I think that would be the way to go.
Well, you got a lot of hate for your desire to demolish Park.
I did get a lot of hate for the Park. People love aspects of Park.
I guess I just don't get it. Like, I don't hate Park.
I don't either.
I really like that they're non-smoking.
Right,
but that's that's like the only thing you can point to at Park and be like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Park does this well. And it's not even anything specific. They just don't let people smoke inside. Anybody can do that. It's not the property. It's a policy. So you don't even like the property. You like the policy. That being said, I don't understand the affinity towards Park that a lot of people have because it's just so bland.
Yeah, me too. And one more thing, our comment from Ned's. Ned's also pointed out, I had wondered if Ned's was a plural or singular, and Ned's is singular.
How many people do you know named Ned?
Well, I don't actually know anybody named. I don't think I know any Neds.
So you just happen to think 2 of them are right next to each other, sending
I thought maybe it was
Patreon messages together.
Names. Well, how many people do you know named Neds?
One, absolutely, just one. Okay,
fair
Josh.
enough. So thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, let's keep this thing moving. Okay, Josh, main topic this week, Vegas for the non-gambler. And what precipitated this was an email that we got from listener Teresa. And here's what Teresa said. Hey guys, new listener and new patron. Thank you, Teresa, for that.
Thank you.
Found you guys about a month ago and have been listening back to all the episodes ever since. A little confession, I am not a gambler. My husband is, and now he is hooked on your show as well. Thank you for referring him. But I really love the conversations you have and was glad to hear you don't solely focus on the gambling side of Las Vegas. Here is my question. I will be going to Vegas July 8th through 12th by myself for a trade show. I was hoping you could give me some suggestions for things to do, places to go, etc. while in Vegas, knowing I won't be gambling at all. Love the show and hope our paths cross on a trip in the future. Thanks, Teresa. And before you say anything, Josh, I don't know what kind of husband would let their wife go to Vegas and not be like, I have to come too. Let me come too. I'll be there with you. It'll be amazing. Who just says go to Vegas by yourself?
Well, yeah, I'm with you, Chris. And I don't know if this was ever true with you, but my wife used to, more than she does now, but used to travel for Vegas for work. I would always find some way to go.
Yes, I have to be
always.
There. Honey, you are not safe if I'm not there. Vegas is a dangerous city.
And while you're off doing your convention, I'll just be in the room.
I remember, Josh, there was a period there when my girlfriend used to come with me to Vegas a decent amount. And I would literally plan big spa trips in the middle of the day for her, where she'd go get like big, super long massages and facials. And the whole point of it was to build in the gambling time into the day, because I knew I wasn't going to have free time when she was done.
It's spa day for you.
Oh, yeah. And she loved it. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. I'm sure that we have a lot of listeners that fit into that.
Oh, I'm sure. So let's talk about some things in our eyes that would be good ways to kill some time in Vegas and have some fun that are non-gambling related. And the good news is it's probably one of the best cities in the world for like almost anything you want.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking, Josh, you're probably staying at a really nice place, probably on the Strip. Most of those 4 or 5 star resorts, there's so much to do there, whether it's like a spa day and you go down and do all the spa stuff. You do a pool day, because they all have beautiful, luxurious pools with drink service and food service and cabanas and day beds and all that stuff. I'm thinking you could go to a day club if that's your thing. If you want to have some music and have the pool experience, there's plenty of day clubs in town. You could go to Lake Mead or Red Rock and get some nature in if you wanted to do that. Although the second week of July, not necessarily the best time to go hiking, but if that's your thing, go crazy. You know, Josh, you could just walk around the property grounds. I mean, all those hotel resorts, there's always something cool to see at each one of those places. But more importantly, if you just want to stick around hotels, go enjoy some of like the best food in the world.
Yes.
I don't care what you like. There is a good meal to be had every meal, whatever you like.
Yeah, I totally agree, Chris. And I took Teresa's question and I thought about it from what would I do if I wasn't going to gamble in Vegas and it was my first time? What would be, or my wife or whoever, but I thought about it kind of from my own perspective of if I was going to do shopping or, if I wanted to suggest shopping as an activity, I would say Forum shops at Caesars. I'd say the Canal shops at Venetian. I'd say Wynn Plaza if you want really upscale shops, or the Bellagio, whatever the Bellagio shop area is called. I thought about it, and you said nice restaurants, and I was thinking about some different, you've got, I think for a first-time Vegas visitor or a new Vegas visitor who's not into gambling, I might, for a steak restaurant, suggest Prime at Bellagio for the view.
Yeah.
We've talked about Sinatra at Wynn for Italian. Javier's at Aria for Mexican is good. The Golden Steer if you want some ambiance. I thought about, Chris, let's see, you mentioned I was thinking spas. Obviously, we've talked all about the Wynn and Aria spas, 2 really good ones. I was thinking about a trip to the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, I had a whole other list, Josh, of like random sightseeing and activity-based stuff, and you hit a couple of them. I said, like a Vegas helicopter tour. You can hop up there and ride around the city, especially at night, would be really cool to see. Go to the Grand Canyon or the Hoover Dam. There's plenty of tours out there that will take you out there, or you can just rent a car if you want to do it yourself and do it that way. Bellagio fountains in the conservatory. Wynn has their flowers that you can look at that are always very pretty. The Flamingo Wildlife Habitat.
Yep.
There's plenty of museums in town. If you're a museum sort of person, whether it's something more historic like the Mob Museum, or if you like the bright lights, they got the Neon Museum. You went to the Pinball Hall of Fame where you can go there and check out all that stuff. And as long as you don't have a kid with you that will get yelled at, you're set. I mean, so many things like that to do,
Josh.
You've got the
big wheel. I mean, the high roller.
Oh, the CV Big Wheel High Roller. Are we sponsoring that now?
We should.
We should.
We get big enough. We're going to sponsor the high roller.
I was even going to say Speed Vegas. If you like to drive fast cars, it's not cheap. It's about $300, I think, for the basic experience. But You can go out there and drive a sports car at 110 mile an hour. That's a lot of fun. Area 15, Top Golf. And my last one on my list, Josh, the Green Door. And if you don't know what it is, don't worry about it.
The Green Door.
Don't Google it. And they're not a sponsor. But if you want to go check out the Green Door, let us know how it goes.
A couple other things I thought of, Chris, that you didn't even mention. And these aren't necessarily things that I've done, but things that I might like to do. I was thinking of, I think you said, did you say Red Rock Canyon? I don't know
Yes,
if you
I
said,
did.
okay, you said Red Rock Canyon. I was also thinking of Zion or Bryce Canyon National Park as far as outdoorsy things.
Yeah.
You've got the Las Vegas sign. I think for a lot of new Vegas visitors who don't like to gamble, go get your picture taken or take your picture in front of the Las Vegas sign. It's not really my thing, but obviously see the fountains. If you're into sports and sports books, I know this isn't probably on Chris's list, but the Circus Sports Book is the place to see if you're into that kind of thing. The Sphere.
Yeah.
Would be great. You can go see that daytime show at the Sphere.
Yeah. Postcards from Earth, I think. Yep.
Yeah. As far as theme properties, we kind of touched on it earlier, but Luxor and Excalibur are fun to go and see just from our architectural theming perspective, even if you don't gamble.
Sure. I agree with that. And we skipped over shows completely, Josh. I mean, nobody has more shows than Vegas, whether it's a daytime show like a Matt King or a Potted Potter if you're a Harry Potter fan, or if it's a nighttime show. All the Spiegel World shows are absolutely amazing. Most of the Cirque shows are very good. The only one I would stay away from is Awakening. But other than that, they're great.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. But yeah, Josh, I mean, I think the big takeaway here is there is so many things to do in Vegas. You could fill up 2 weeks of activities without a hiccup and do different things every day between pools and spas and shows and travel and just restaurants and everything. There's just so much to do.
And we didn't really even talk about it, but you've also got the nightclub scene.
Yeah, you do.
You can go listen to our best of Vegas for our nightclub thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll fill you in on the Mothership and Zook and all the good things.
I think Zook is the Mothership.
It's been so long since we've been there, Josh. I can't remember. Oh, my.
But you've got Excess for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, yeah, it's just a ton to do. I hope the trip goes well. Let us know. Send us a report when you're back of what you ended up doing, what you like, what you didn't like, and we'll share some of that feedback, and hopefully our paths will cross in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Teresa. And don't forget Love It Frozen Custard.
Oh, that's a good point, Josh. You have to go get frozen custard. Just if you're a single female traveling out to
I don't think it has to do with female either.
Well, I mean, men are in trouble
if
too.
You're
don't
traveling
worry,
alone, yes.
I would bring some like bear spray with you, maybe. I don't know, just anything that you can to protect you. Okay, Josh. After the break, we'll answer some listener questions, and the CV Big Wheel returns. So stick around. Josh, something a lot of people overlook is home security. They think it's too expensive, they hate the contracts, they just don't want to deal with all that hassle. Well, I have a solution for those people that will make this much simpler. Cove Security. Cove is an industry leader in home security systems without any of the hassles that people are used to. You can self-install the system, there are no contracts, 24/7 support, and most importantly, it's cheap. With monitored plans starting at only 60 cents a day, how could you ever pass it up? And the best part is that if you act now during their Father's Day sale, you will save up to 70% on all your equipment. You'll get a free HD camera, free setup, and more. There is no better time to switch. Josh, if you're like me and your kids gave you a single card and no gifts, this is something that, you could say treat yourself with.
I am very much like you. That's just about exactly what I got.
Yeah, exactly. Cove was also named the best home security system of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. So if you're ready to get started, get signed up today by visiting crapvegas.com/cove.
That's crapvegas.com/cove.
Stay safe, friends. Josh, Zorkfest 2024, it's going to be here before you know it. It's November 1st through 3rd. That's at Horseshoe, Las Vegas. And I saw a press release that they have a new guest speaker coming.
Yes, Michael announced that Anthony Curtis, who runs the Las Vegas Advisor, is going to be now part of Zorkfest as a speaker and presenter. Anthony Curtis has been on Travel Channel, A&E, Discovery, and one of the most recognized and quoted Las Vegas experts in the world. And I think also he's going to be running the Blackjack Lab at Zorkfest. I'll be running the Craps Lab at Zorkfest. I'm not quite exactly sure what that is yet, but I'm going to be running it, and I'll be happy to do it and excited to see everybody there.
So he's over on TV all the time and this huge expert. And then there's Josh.
And then there's me, right? That's why he
You
gets
poor
top
thing.
billing in the press release.
Yeah, I would imagine that he does. But either way, if you want to go and check that out, early bird discount tickets are available at $100 off the normal registration fee. So get over there and get registered. Make sure you tell them Crap Vegas sent you. I don't think it will get you anything special, but it will give you a big high five from us.
It sure will. And for those that don't know, Zorkfest is going to be a lot of fun. You can learn more about using points. You can redeem your points for amazing vacations and flights, learn how to do that. And you can learn more about using casino comps and everything that comes with that. And lest we forget, Travel Zork Travel is a great place to go and the place we have used for our more luxury travel needs. And so if you're planning a vacation outside of Las Vegas, outside of Zorkfest, check out Michael and his team at travelzorktravel.com.
Yep. Or you can go to travelzork.com/Zorkfest to get signed up for the event. And I'm sure Josh will see you there.
I will.
Okay, Josh, before we start getting into our listener questions this week, we did have a trip report that I wanted to share. It's a cruise ship craps report from listener Jordan H. He said, got one of those free cruise offers from Caesars a while back in January for an Alaskan cruise. My wife always wanted to go, so we went in January to get the offer and then booked the cruise for June on the Norwegian Encore for 7 days. He wanted to share a little bit of experience that he had at the craps area. He said craps were 3, 4, 5 times odds. You pay the VIG up front on the 4 and 10. The crews were insanely good. I was shocked as I had read and heard about horror stories, but the ladies on the boat were the fastest I have ever seen. In some cases, too fast. A couple times I had to tell them to slow down because the dice were already out and half the bets hadn't even been paid yet. They were so great, though, and trust me, they did well off tips from me. One older gentleman, though, Josh, at least mid-70s, so he's your age,
Sure.
had probably the most epic roll in craps history. I'm going to disagree with that a little bit, but here's what happened. Not results-wise, but the dude rolled for like an hour late at night with a full table. Mid-roll, a very large, muscular, drunk man tried to come into the game between the dealer and stick left one position. It was about a 2-inch space. They told him space was open next to the shooter. This guy had no clue. He could have dropped his chips in the middle from the end of the table. He was that big. He was all in the old man's face and chips and body space. The old man kept rolling. 20 minutes in, he is now getting pissed off, though. He's getting dice, putting them down, yelling at the big muscle man, and then throwing the dice while still yelling at him. Hard ways were everywhere. Chris and Josh know I like the hard ways, which he does. He is breaking every crap smith known to man. He takes his bets down when he rolls for 20 more minutes. He puts them back up. The more angry he gets, the better he rolls. He's like Kobe in Game 7 of the finals, putting the team on his back. The waitress comes over for his beer. He puts the dice down. He's about to roll to pay for his beer. The table moans. He tells everyone to calm down, chunks the dice, and hits a hard 10 for the point. The crowd erupts. Finally, he sevens out, and the boat is in shock. All in all, a great cruise. The wife also played in the blackjack tournament and won $500 there. So, Josh, he had a great experience on the Norwegian Encore.
Well, that's great. Thanks for the update, Jordan. I'm glad you had fun. That sounds like quite the roll. It would have been an adventure to be a part of. Chris, I know you're not big into the superstitions. I have a tendency when a roll gets going like that, whatever the shooter is doing, like if you're somebody that just believes in the momentum of the thing or just like if he's starting and stopping because this guy's drunk, well, keep it up then.
Keep being drunk. I don't think he hesitated at all with that request, so no problem.
Whatever is happening, if it's working, it's working.
Okay, Josh, question from Brian on the CV Facebook group. Total new question that's been eating at me for no good reason. When the table minimum is, say, $50, does that mean all your bets have to total more than $50? Or does every bet have to be above $50? It seems to me that every time I have played the all tall small that there doesn't seem to be a minimum. I'm a medium roller, but I would like to have at least a general knowledge of the rules before I start plunking money down. But if I can make 4 $25 bets on a $100 minimum table, that would be good to know. Thanks, guys, for the podcast. Hoping to make it back to Vegas in August. And I can understand why there's confusion in this area, Josh, because like a roulette table and a blackjack table and a craps table, they have different rules behind table minimums.
Absolutely.
On a craps table, when it says the minimum bet is 50, that bet applies to a lot of bets on the table,
but not all of them,
which is dumb. I don't understand it. They don't mean that you have to have $50 in play.
Right.
In fact, on a $50 table, you could have $5 or $10 in play, and that would be perfectly fine. Because things like hardways, typically they'll take $5 action or more. They usually don't want singles on that stuff. Some places will accept it, some won't. But if you're talking about prop action in the middle of the table, if you're talking hardways, C&E, E7, stuff like that, world bets, then the table minimum is almost meaningless because anything $5 or more will be accepted. All tall, small, feature bets, $5 is fine. $10. I mean, some of the
sometimes
feature
even
bets
$1. Right.
Yeah, sometimes the cap on a feature bet, if it's like a fire bet, typically has a $10 max anyways. So $1 is a very common bet on it. When they say that the table minimum is 50, that means to play the pass line, the don't pass, a field bet, or to place or buy a number that's one of the box numbers.
Yep.
You have to play at least the table minimum. So if it's a $50 table, you can't place the 6 and 8 for 25 each. That would be a weird bet to make. It would be 30 usually, but you can't do that. You would have to place the 6 and 8 for at least $50 a piece.
Right.
If you want to make a field bet, you would have to put at least $50 out there, even if you had $50 in prop action on the table through multiple bets. It's just saying on the primary bets on a craps table, pass line, don't pass, field bet, come bets, and all the box numbers, whether you're laying them, anything like that. So on those primary craps bets, you have to have the table minimum. But on the other stuff, the prop action and all the other junk in the middle, typically $5 or more is fine.
Yep. And the way this translates into blackjack is it's fairly similar. If you're playing at a blackjack table, your primary bet has to be the table minimum. But if there's a side bet, usually that can be for less, right, Chris? If you're playing lucky whatever they are. Yeah,
usually a nickel or something like that's perfectly fine.
In roulette, it's different because if the table minimum is $10 and you're playing with $1 chips, you can play $1 on all the individual numbers. But if you're playing the red or black or you're playing the rows or columns, then that usually does have to be the full table minimum. So it's so stupid. The only thing, Josh, I don't even know myself because I'm not typically a don't player. It only happens once in a blue moon. If the table minimum is, say, $50 on a lay bet, like on a 4 or 10, where you would normally put up 2 times the money to win half of it because they pay 1 to 2. I bet it's still the minimum.
Do you think you can still play 50 or do you think you have to play 100?
Well, I bet if it's a $50 table, you can play a $50 don't.
To win 25?
Right, to win 25.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know, honestly. So if you're a don't player, let us know and we'll add that on the next episode as a response because I'm honestly not even sure.
Yeah, me either. But it's a great question, Brian, and a lot of people have that question. You're not alone.
No, you wouldn't be the first person to walk up to a $50 table and try to take the 6 and 8 for 25 each. It happens all the time.
Yep.
Okay, Josh, we also got an email from listener Dan. Dan said, "Hey, gents, new listener and just finishing up binging all the episodes over the past few weeks. On episode 48, currently getting ready for work. I'm a longtime player and new dealer, trying out something new on nights, weekends to supplement my day job. By the way, Josh, that would be an amazing evening job. I would love to deal in the evenings."
Yeah, me too. Although, I mean, we talked about dealing and how tired our bodies would get. I can't imagine working 8 hours of a regular job or 10 hours of a regular job and then dealing. That'd be hard work.
No, it would. But if you're going to do something, you might as well do something fun. And that would be fun if nothing else.
I always thought I'd be a good Uber driver.
Wow. Such a very specific skill you have there, Josh.
I'm personable. I think driving people around in Vegas would be a lot of fun. Except for the
you mean in Vegas?
Well, wherever, but I mean, I'm talking, we're about Vegas, Chris, so I'm going with the Vegas theme.
Okay, that makes sense. I definitely would not want to drive people around in my own car in Vegas. I would become very mad and frustrated quickly as they destroyed the interior of my car.
I wonder, they have those, we'll get back to the question in a minute from Dan, but
sorry, Dan.
But, they have those. We had an Uber driver last time I was in Vegas with my wife who rented his Uber car. Like he got a Tesla from Hertz as part of their. So I wonder if we could go as tourists and sign up to be Uber drivers and then rent the car from Hertz and do Uber, be an Uber driver in Vegas while we're there on vacation.
That sounds horrible. Absolutely horrible. And you know what, Josh? You usually stick in Vegas a couple days after I leave. So why don't you just Uber around the last couple days while you're trying to figure out something to do?
And make up my losses.
Exactly. That seems like a win. Okay, let's get back to
Dan's question.
Dan said, while hired as a blackjack dealer, almost immediately myself and a few others were quote unquote forcefully asked to move to craps training so the casino can get a regular game going during the week. None of the other noobs knew what they were in for, but not one to shy away from a challenge I accepted. The others ignorantly accepted while I chose my own destiny. Anyways, I've been on the floor for a few weeks now and looking for insight on what you absolutely love the dealers do and what you don't. I know the obvious, keep the game speed up, pay out correctly, don't be a dick or confrontational, ask if you're coming back and so on. but I was hoping you could go beyond the obvious and think on this one as to what are some things that really stood out as a positive or negative from a dealer over the years of experience you have. So love the show, keep it up, and hope to meet you one day at the table. Thanks, Dan. So Josh, going to his question there, what are some things, if you were trying to encourage a dealer to do the right things and stay away from the wrong things, what would you be telling them?
That's a great question, Dan. I know we've talked about some of the basic things, which you brought up too, and they're kind of simple things, but I'm trying to kind of racking my brain for my favorite dealers and anything they have in common. And I think a lot of it comes down to personality and being friendly, but not so friendly that it seems fake or forced. And a little bit of edge, that fun edge that Chris and I have talked about with our favorite dealer, Rick, at Wynn. And lots of our favorite dealers have just a little bit of edge to them. Don't you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think the best dealers are the ones that are not only good at their job, they know how to keep communication going and have a nice conversation. And then also they know the right time to kind of pick on you a little bit, no matter what it is. I mean, it could just be what you bet on if it didn't hit, or, just something silly. Like there's a lot of times I'll play without a 5 and 9. And then the first couple rolls will be 5 and 9, and the dealer will just kind of look at me and shake their head.
Right.
That's, that's fun, unless you're getting destroyed. Then it's really bad.
And I think that's the key, is also recognizing to not go too far and maybe switch over to being a little bit more of your friend if you're losing, and less edge and more friend, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think, making sure bets don't fall. So if you're playing the same way every time, making sure something doesn't fall, whether it's a hard way or a feature bet. Don't make me tell you every single time what my bet is when I never change. That wouldn't make sense. If you can do that, have a good conversation with me. I especially think it's important if you're playing heads up at a table with a player.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds like maybe your casino doesn't get as much action. If you have a player that's walking up to play by themselves, please make sure that you're making them the center of your attention. You're communicating with them, telling a story, whatever it may be. Don't just talk to the other dealers while you're sending the dice out. That gets really annoying.
Yeah. Chris and I both, it's frustrating, especially at craps tables. And I get it when the 3 dealers or 4 dealers or whoever are there and it's boring and they're chatting with each other. But then if you come up to the table, you want some of that attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the only reason I play at a table by myself, Josh, is I'm super needy. So I need all the attention. I go when the table's empty.
Chris, did I ever tell you about the dealer at Wynn? So this is a long, long time ago. And I hope this story isn't offensive. It's not meant to be. Okay. So we're my buddies and I, this is the same group I go with, once in a while now. We're playing blackjack at Wynn. This is before I don't even think we stayed at Wynn, but somehow we ended up at Wynn when $25 blackjack was really expensive for us. We're at a quarter table. We're drinking like crazy. We're all drunk. And the dealer changes and a new dealer comes in and he starts talking to us. And I'm pretty drunk and I'm thinking, I'm not understanding this guy. And what's going on? And I'm kind of looking at my friends and they're kind of like, are we really that drunk that this guy is really hard to understand? Well, it turns out he was deaf.
Oh, okay.
And you know how sometimes deaf people, the way they speak is different.
Yes.
So that was like, I was really happy. He was super nice. And I actually wrote up a good comment and everything, but in drunk, it was really hard to figure out what was going on.
Jeez. That could have been far worse than it actually ended up, Josh.
But I was really impressed with Wynn because he was a fantastic dealer. And this disability, for whatever you want to call it, didn't, he was still a great dealer. And what made me think of it is how much we enjoyed playing with him. Once we kind of figured out why we were having a little trouble understanding him, he made the game so much fun. Okay,
well, that's awesome. And I was just kind of laughing at the beginning of that story you were telling, Josh, because it feels like anytime you're about to disrespect somebody, you always say one of two things. You either say, don't take this the wrong way, which means you absolutely will, or with all due respect.
Right. This wasn't either of those. I don't think
about to get smacked down right there.
This wasn't either. I don't think this was either of those.
Okay, Josh, I know we only had a couple questions this week. I didn't have a chance to grab any more, but let's keep it moving. Patreon. That's patreon.com/crapvegas. What do we have new over there, Josh?
Chris, we had a really fun discussion on the last CVP show about how this podcast and social media and all of that kind of stuff has affected our gambling, and if it has, or our Vegas trips. And it was a really kind of, if I can use the current term, a meta discussion about all that.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wow, that's heavy, man.
It is. It's yeah. It was a really good discussion though, and kind of a little deeper than we usually go on the main show. So that was fun. And we also talked about casino salaries, what you might make at different properties in Vegas, and a really kind of deep dive into what some of the properties make, what the differences are between various jobs and that kind of thing. Talked a little about that. So a really fun discussion about those two topics on the last CVP show.
Let's tell everybody the new patrons we have this week, Josh. We have John S., Jeffrey E., who is a KCS. Thank you, Jeffrey. Shane D., the letter W. Didn't we have another
We
letter
had a G,
randomly?
I think.
Was it G or M? I can't remember. I don't know.
This is
Sesame Street
W,
just
huh?
pops its head out every once in a while. We get sponsored by a random letter. I feel like next week's going to be like Grover and Cookie Monster have joined us. We also have Chris M., Lee N., Jacob B., Neil A., who is a annual KCS. Thank you, Neil.
Neil Armstrong?
It could be. I didn't look, but there's a chance. And Hot for Dice. So thank you all for signing up this week. We truly do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And we try and make our Patreon shows, our CVP shows, something special, whether it's the audio content or whether it's our CVTV video content. We're trying to make it extra special over there. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for following along, and hope you like it.
Oh, that reminds me, Josh, our next CVP episode is going to be episode 2 of Casino Confidential.
It is.
And it was a lot of fun. And I can't wait to get to episode 3 because that show is really growing on me.
We're really excited about that. So if you want to see Chris and I watch Casino Confidential, you can get that over there on Patreon too on our CVTV.
Yeah, no commentary at all. Josh and I just sit there looking at the screen and you get to watch us. That's it. That's all it is.
It's true. It's
we
riveting.
are truly lazy. It's very riveting. Oh, you did get to see the Binion's Pool last episode, which is worth the watch all in itself.
Yeah, if I were ever going to be a Vegas pool person, it would be at the Binion's Pool.
I agree.
We should have recommended that to Teresa.
We should have.
Check
She
out
should
the
go down there and
Binion's
check it
Pool.
out. It won't take long. Check it out. Josh, upcoming trips, June 28th through the 30th, we will be at Venetian, and then we'll leave there and head over to Aria, June 30th through July 2nd. I know I'm getting pretty pumped up about that trip. We have so much planned.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've talked you into Mac King today, so that might add one more thing. We got so many dinners. It's just going to be an awesome weekend. But I'll tell you what, Josh, what I am seriously most excited for is the soccer match.
That is going to be a lot of fun. So for our listeners that don't know, if you're not patrons, one of our patrons gifted us with tickets to the Brazil versus Paraguay match on that Friday night. So thank you, Michelle, for doing that. And Chris and I are super excited about that. Friday night at Allegiant Stadium, and we will have a report when we get back.
Yeah, I can't wait to go. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We got great seats. We get access to the Modelo Club, like a field level club. So we'll have to see how that is. We will report everything back. I've already convinced Josh that we need to order some jerseys, maybe some face paint.
Oh, yeah.
Josh has told me that we have to support Brazil. So our allegiance has been chosen. We're Brazilian for that day. It'll be a lot of fun. And who could look more Brazilian than you and I?
Oh, yeah.
A couple pale white guys, you know? I mean, we'll fit right in.
Chris, I don't think I ever told you this story. We were in Mazatlan once, and there was, there's street vendors and everything. There's a guy selling baseball hats, right?
Okay.
And he looks at me and says, I'm not going to do an accent, but if you get this hat, you could look Mexican. And I'm
Really?
like, the hat alone is not going to cut it for me.
I would pass on that very quickly. A friendly reminder to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app and to visit our merch store, crapvegas.com/shop. We do have a new shirt to announce this week, Josh. Our new Big Dice Energy shirt is now available in the Crap Vegas store, so go give that a look and see if you want to grab one of those. And more importantly than that, I have completely redesigned the Crap Vegas website. I'm calling it Crap Vegas 2.0. It was a real pain to put together. It's not even 100% done as the moment that I'm recording this, but I've committed by the time you hear this on Sunday that it will be fully ready to go.
For our KCS patrons who get the early release of this on Friday, will it be ready to go?
Oh, I don't know about that because it's already out there and they know about it. I haven't announced it to the public yet, but I'm just working out some kinks that existed as I was building through the page. I will tease a couple things though, Josh. There is an exciting new feature that's going to be coming to the site. I'm not sure how long it's going to take us to get ready. I'm guessing it's going to take a few weeks more to have it all prepared, but we're going to be adding a feature to the website that I think almost any gambler that visits Vegas is going to be really excited about.
Yeah, if it's what I think it is, Chris is absolutely right. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the website is worth checking out for sure. As Chris has done all the work on this, except for one thing. We recorded a little trailer together, which is kind of fun, that is also available on the website.
Yeah, it's in your podcasting feed now. I backdated it. So
Oh,
you
is
would
it?
never,
All right, there we go.
You would never even know it's there because I had to
Ooh.
date it a couple years back. So if you ever scroll to the very beginning of our show, it will appear there now.
It's like it was there the whole time. Is that what you're saying?
You would never even know. Josh, I don't know if you remember, but last episode we were at 99 reviews on Apple Podcasts.
And I hope 100 wasn't a bad one.
Yeah, that's what we hoped. So since then, we actually got 5 more reviews. They look to all be 5 stars, which is great.
Thank you.
Let me grab a random one here just to share. We got a 5-star review from Mac is Midwest saying, Chris and Josh are incredible storytellers.
Aw.
They give great Vegas recommendations for Vegas veterans and newbies. Really enjoy their back and forth. Always puts a smile on my face, especially when you're about to head to Vegas. So thank you for that review. We'll share another one next week, but thank you to everybody that left a review recently. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Okay, Josh, we made it this far, so I guess it's time for the CV Big Wheel.
You've even got the voice down.
Sponsored by The Link.
It's time. Shall we spin the wheel?
Spin the wheel.
It's time to spin the Crap Vegas Big Wheel. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Josh,
Not really.
spin the wheel.
Are you familiar with the magician Murray Sawchuk?
Yes, he was on America's Got Talent.
Yep.
He has very stupid looking hair.
He does.
And I didn't think he was very talented.
Well, I'm with you. He was on Pawn Stars. I think the first place I ever saw him was on the magician that appeared to authenticate magic something or other on Pawn Stars. He was their magical expert. But I guess he's been a fixture in Vegas since 2002. I mean, who knew?
Okay.
He was at the Frontier at 2002, starting in 2002. So he's going to be appearing at the Strat on June 26th and 27th. But the reason that I'm bringing all this up is, I don't know if you followed, a couple months ago, he had to resign or was terminated from the Magic Castle in LA.
I have done way more research on the Magic Castle than a normal person should. I will say that.
Okay. And he was suspended or resigned from the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Okay.
And all because he ran afoul of their regulations for posting a series of online skits exposing the magical tricks.
Okay.
You're not supposed to give away the magician's secrets and stuff. Interestingly, I didn't know this, but this is not the first time something like this has happened. Penn and Teller were banned from the Magic Castle in the 80s for kind of doing the same thing. They exposed the famed cup and balls routine. And so, but turns out that Murray's like appearance fees and everything have shot way up like 4 times based on all this publicity he's had.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's part of Penn and Teller's whole shtick is that they expose the trick before they do it, but they're just so good at it that you can't understand it still. And then they always add a twist at the end of the trick that there's just no way of knowing. So I can get that from them. I was thinking back, Josh, remember on Fox, they used to have that Masked Magician
they got
TV
a
show?
lot. I remember that was big controversial.
That was a whole thing when he would expose all those different tricks that people were doing. I mean, good for Murray, because I didn't think he was very good before. So if this makes him more popular, more power to him. But yeah, Josh, I don't know what it was. I went through a kick there where I really liked magic a lot.
Right.
So I started reading up on the Magic Castle and like how you get into it. Can a guest go? What their rules are. There was a TV show I really liked on Netflix starring Gillian Anderson and Paul Rust. And they actually had an episode that was set inside the Magic Castle.
Oh, okay.
And they talked about all the Magic Castle rules of you have to wear a sports coat at all times. And you got to see the magic piano that can play music on demand inside. Just a really cool place that I really would love to visit someday, but I'm sure I never will.
As you're telling that story, Chris, I used to work with a woman at Alaska Airlines who went off to LA to Hollywood to find her fortune as a writer and that kind of thing. And she ended up being a part-time magician and got to go to the Magic Castle and that kind of stuff. But the thing I remember is she was writing scripts for the reality TV show of like sex stories of the ER.
Oh, wow.
That was where
she really hit it big.
Oh, yeah, she did.
Jeez.
That's what that made me think of. Just an interesting story about any publicity being good publicity.
I agree. What you got next on the wheel?
All right, let's spin the wheel. Oh, here's one, Chris. So did you see that Caesars rejected a shareholder proposal to study the economic effects of smoke-free casinos?
That's interesting.
Yeah, they don't want to do it. They don't want to even study it. I mean,
we don't
they would
care.
have
We're
had
not
to pay for the
studying it.
study.
I mean, yeah, it would have cost a significant amount of money to do it, but I guess Caesar shareholders said, screw you, smoke as much as you want. We want the income coming in.
Yeah, so about 80% of the votes cast were against the proposal, so against them having to fund and conduct this study. And for those that don't really know, I mean, shareholder proposals and shareholder voting is all, oftentimes the voting are controlled by these massive, whether they're pension funds or whoever.
Yeah, there's a lot of block voting and everything gets aggregated.
But so their rationale was they said, determining the smoking policy for our properties is a complex business decision, and we believe our current policies strike the appropriate balance in appealing to both smoking and non-smoking customers.
In what way does Caesar's properties have any sort of policy against smoking? Like,
I'm assuming they just mean like non-smoking areas, maybe somewhere or something.
They don't have any non-smoking table games areas that I know of.
I mean, not that I know of either. Maybe they do somewhere, but
our policy is we don't give a shit. Do whatever you want.
Anyway, we've talked about a number of times the kind of push and pull between whether or not more casinos will become non-smoking or things like that. And we've talked about Park before. Chris and I both aren't smokers, so we kind of there's an appeal to it. But I also understand that gambling and smoking are pretty heavily tied together.
I mean, I would come from a different direction and just say, Josh, I don't know if it's necessary to perform a study, because you already have a live action study at Park MGM.
At Park, right.
I mean, you already have a property that's been there, done that, and you can see what it's done.
Yeah.
It's the one thing, we just mentioned this earlier, it's the one thing people talk about at Park being a benefit. I'm sure if Caesars chose a random property and made it non-smoking, it would go well. I do think it would. They have plenty of other options if that's not important to you. But for the people that have any sort of sensitivity to smoke,
it would
just
be nice
don't want
to
be
have.
around it, non-smokers, the happiness and the overall, just rating that people would give the property is going to go way up.
Yep, for sure.
It's my least favorite part of being a table games player. There's nothing worse at a craps table than having a guy walk up, stand literally an inch away from me and start blowing a cigar or cigarettes in my face.
Yep, I agree. And I appreciate all the smokers that are respectful about that and try and either stand away or not smoke at the table or ask. And I'm almost never going to say no if somebody asks. I'm always going to say, just come on in, kind of thing.
Oh, I think we need to stigmatize him more, Josh. Let's make it even worse on him.
Fair enough.
Shame the hell out of him.
Anyway, ready for another spin, Chris?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Did it break? What's going on?
So, Chris, the news broke today that David Guetta, who is a big, huge, famous DJ.
I know the name, yeah.
Okay, so you know who he is. That's good. See, that's a good first step. So he helped dance music evolve to where it is now. He has been poached, if you will, that's my term, from Wynn over to Fontainebleau. So he signed a new deal that was just announced as we're recording this, engagement at Fontainebleau Vegas and Fontainebleau Miami.
This reminds me of when Palms, when they first opened their nightclub, and they tried to steal all the big names and overpaid for them, and they filed bankruptcy shortly after. And I have a feeling this is going to go along the same path.
So in thinking that this might pop in on the wheel, I did a little more digging into David Guetta, Chris, and I found this little clip of David being interviewed by Larry King.
Okay.
You know who Larry King is?
Yes, I'm well aware.
Okay. Well, as some of our listeners, for our listeners who may not know, Larry King had a talk show on CNN for years and years and years and years and years, and then had a different talk show after he left CNN, and he's since passed away. He was in his 80s or something like this.
Yeah,
so
late 80s. This is a couple of years ago he passed away.
This is an interview from 2015, and with Larry talking to David Guetta.
You work Vegas every Saturday night, right?
It's unbelievable, and I'm very, very excited about this. I took a residency in the U.S. for the first time in my life, and now from March until September, every weekend I play in Vegas at the Wynn, and the club is called XS, and it's an amazing time.
I've been in XS.
And the pool party, but have you seen the pool party? Pool party is next level.
Was that Sunday?
Yeah, that's on Sunday. It's crazy.
I'll have to come and see it.
Please. But you have to bring your bathing suit for the pool party.
Okay. That's going to be fun. I'll be the oldest guy at the pool.
Wow. I'd love to see a 80-year-old Larry David. I just combined Larry King and David Guetta into Larry David, by the way. Well, I love Larry David, too.
It happened to me, too, right?
Yeah. God, put them together. Wow, Josh, that was just terrific. Anything else that we need to talk about before we get out of here today?
Yeah, the last thing I can think of, Chris, is I just wanted to say I'm super excited to be in Vegas. It'll be this coming weekend from the time this show drops. And I think there's going to be all sorts of listeners there. I think Joyce is going to be there. I think Jordan H might be there. Let's see, who else? Jack's going to be there. Boring Jack is going to be there. Who else, Chris? Anybody else you can think of?
I'm sure there's a lot more than that, but I'm terrible at remembering.
Our dinner date on Monday night. Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, we got a lot of people coming.
So lots of people coming, and you guys know where to find us. We'll be most likely at the Craps Tables on, Saturday and Sunday morning at Venetian, and Monday and probably Tuesday morning at Aria.
And just to take this episode full circle, Josh, I figure at some point, if we have a lot of free time or if it's not going well, we might be over at Topgolf.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Boy, we're just going to screw
so many things.
We're just not going to play it or shoot any dice. We're going to go downtown.
I know Topgolf is expensive, but at the same time, it's not as expensive as playing craps.
That's true. Can we put it on our room?
No.
You don't think it's owned by MGM, I think? Or at least it's licensed by them.
There's no chance they let you charge it back to the room.
Darn it.
Okay. Well, this was fun, Josh. So I will see you in a week. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Vegas, here we come.
Thanks for listening to the Crap Vegas podcast.
Have you ever been to Vegas?
Check out all our recent news and our Vegas trip calendar by visiting crapvegas.com.
See you in Vegas.
Hello, everyone. Why is there laughing now? What happened? Well, we got a message on the
Sean. Wallet.
I didn't mean to talk over you.
That's okay. Do you know who Wallace Shawn is?
Yeah, absolutely. He's on Young Sheldon, too.
Okay, hold on.
Inconceivable!
Moving on, Josh, we got a message from Raven. No, not Raven.
Raven Simone?
Yeah, Raven Simone. No.
But I was going to say the simple answer to Brian's question is neither.
Is it?
Yeah. Because he said...
yeah, that is true. Yeah, it is true. I was going to say, how's that possible? Oh, yeah, you are right. It's so weird that you were right for once.
I know, it's a weird thing. I'm going to cut this part out.
These 70-year-old men, I can't keep it straight. Let's do this.
You can't swear because it's the edited version.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's a Crap Vegas podcast.
Computer, how many entries are there for Darmok?
47.